Welcome back to Desktop Inventions for your weekly 3D printing news on the week of March 16th, 2025. So first off, my apologies for my first week of 3D printing news. I had some issues with the microphone here, and it was only coming through the left headphone for a lot of people watching, well, for everybody. So I apologize for that. That was my issue with the microphone setup. And secondly, last week I did not have a news printing video. I was traveling in Shenzhen all of last week and weekend, so I didn't have any time to make a 3D printing news. So anyways, I'm coming back strong this week with a lot of 3D printing news. We've got waves being made in the resin printing space, Bamb Labs, and a rumored new 3D printer that might release. And then a couple Google executives making waves in their own ways in the 3D printing industry. So we got a big week. Let's dive right in. All right, so let's talk about the hottest 3D printer in the rumor mill right now. That's Bamb Labs' new 3D printer, potentially called the H2D. So everything we know is still in the rumor mill. It's not been confirmed yet. So what we have heard though is it's a large Core XY machine, even bigger than the X1 Carbon. So it's the specs are coming in at 350 by 350 by 420 tall build volume, compared to the X1 Carbon at just 256 by 256 by 256. But that's not all. A leaked image going around Reddit implies it might have two extruder heads, which would be great. You could use two heads 3D printing at the same time, like the same part cloned in two parts of the printing bay. Or you could even have two 3D printing heads printing different filament colors to massively cut down on the time and waste that the Bamb Labs AMS system uses today. With that, it's rumored this printer will drop with an AMS2 Pro to support this dual printing head printing dual colors. It might have a higher temperature heated chamber. And guess what? If these leaks are true, it might be dropping and releasing this week at TCT Asia, which I might be attending. We'll go over that more later in the video. All right, next topic here is the Formlabs Form 4 insanely fast resin printing. So Formlabs just dropped the new Form 4 and it's a game changer for resin printing. They've managed to speed up prints supposedly by 5 times compared to their old Form 3 printer, which means you can print most prints within a couple hours instead of half a day or even up to a day. This is all thanks to their new LED-powered light engine, which makes the resin cure extremely fast. Big names like NASA, Microsoft, and Ford are already using this printer for rapid prototyping. The downside though, it's pretty expensive, starting at $3,500, so probably not going to hit too many of the home users. But it does show us that the resin printing is still rapidly advancing. All right, next up, first in a couple stories about some Google executives. So Google's co-founder, Larry Page, has secretly been working on a game-changing aviation startup called Dynatomics, and 3D printing is going to be a huge part of it. The company is reportedly using AI-driven design and additive manufacturing, 3D printing, to create next-gen electric aircraft. Imagine lighter, more efficient planes produced in a fraction of the time. This could be a huge shift in the aviation industry. It could be new competition for Joby and Archer, or it could also be a big flop like the Apple iCar. What do you think? Speaking of former Google executives, Google's former CEO, Eric Schmidt, just became the CEO of Relativity Space, one of the biggest names in 3D printing rockets. I've heard about this company a little bit from the All In podcast. Chamath Palihapitiya is supposedly one of their first big investors. Their Terrain R rocket is built almost entirely with 3D printing out of aluminum and other exotic materials, reducing parts, simplifying production, and making space travel way cheaper. Relativity wants to compete with SpaceX, because someone's got to, by using this 3D printing technology. But the question is, can they keep up with SpaceX? SpaceX is already using 3D printing on their own rocket housings, but I think it's always good to have some friendly competition to speed up things in the space race to the moon, Mars, and beyond. So I look forward to hearing more from Relativity in the future. All right, let's fly over to Australia, where the country's first ever 3D printed multi-story house is being built in just 5 weeks. Supposedly, similar houses from traditional technology is being constructed in 9 to even 12 months. So this is a huge speed up on building new housing. This massive project is using a giant robotic printer that's basically a giant XY gantry printer to lay the concrete walls layer by layer, cutting down construction time and slashing costs, supposedly 25 to 30% cheaper than traditional methods. Now, this isn't just about speed, it's a potential solution to housing shortages and building house designs of the future. If this method scales up, we could see affordable, fast-built, and even custom designs to your liking houses of the future. Now, if this type of technology came to your country, would you live in a 3D printed house? I think I'd give it a shot if I could do my own custom tailored house with really high quality. We'll see where it goes in the future. So another news story in the 3D printing construction space, US Army and Navy are testing 3D printed construction for barracks and military bases. So for research and costs, so instead of using traditional buildings, they're using large-scale 3D printers to create structures on demand. This could cut costs, reduce waste, and speed up deployments in remote locations. So not just for use in the battlegrounds, but this could be the future of disaster relief or even Mars-based construction one day. What do you guys think? Is this the future of construction, or is it just a gimmick? Let me know if you have interest in 3D printing construction down in the comments below. All right, so for the final news topic today, TCT Asia 2025 is happening this week in Shanghai. And guess who lives in Shanghai? This guy. So I'm thinking about taking Tuesday to go check out the entire show, see if this Bamb Labs printer is really releasing, and seeing what type of inside news or stories I can get from the TCT Asia. If there's some things you'd like me to keep a lookout for or what to do at the show, let me know in the comments down below. So TCT Asia is one of the biggest 3D printing expos in the world, and this is my first expo to go to with a camera in hand. I'll probably be really nervous and mess up a bunch, but I'll try and bring back what I can from the news show this week. Before I release any videos on it, I'll probably drop some posts in my X account, so you can follow that in the link below. But hopefully this week I'll get a video out from some things I found and some cool things from TCT Asia this week in Shanghai. So that's it for the news topics. We're going to jump over to the Printables and Thingiverse 3D prints of the week, so I'll see you there. All right, first up for prints of the week here from Printables is the Benchtopus by fluffypuffysquirrel. So it's a spin on the Benchy model plus an octopus. So the octopus usually should have 8 tentacles. This has only got 6, but I'll give it a buy because it's awesome. It's a nice articulated model plus a Benchy model. You can see at the end here, even kept the original tail spout and drain from the Benchy model, keeping it true to its origins. So I think this is a great model and it's going to be really fun on your desktop. So I give this a solid 10 out of 10, must print. Okay, second up on prints of the week. This is from Thingiverse and it is Holder for Socks by George 42 Russ. So this one printed in 2 parts and they're screwed together by this M4 screw. I think the only problem I had with this one is this base is a little too thin, so when you screwed it together it was cracking. Recommend that George 42 Russ would make this a little thicker. Other than that, it's a great functional print. So for those of us that don't have great or functional dryers, you sometimes have to hang up your socks to dry. So this is a great model that's versatile to actually put your socks into and hold them to dry. So this is more of a useful print, and I think I'm going to get some good use out of it, although I will redesign this hook here. So another great print, and this one's from Thingiverse. And that's going to wrap up our prints of the week. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up this week with a couple fun 3D printed parts I saw from Reddit posts. So the first one was this no harm 3D printed lock that you can put on people's car handles for people that really park like idiots, taking up double spots, blocking you in, whatever. It's a little lock that will go onto the door handle and it says, "You suck at parking." I think that's funny. Probably make the person that did the bad parking a little bit mad, but maybe that's justified. And the second one was this double-decker armrest. So I think this is hilarious. I can't tell if people next to me on the airplane would actually enjoy this, or they think I'm crazy, or a little bit of both. You be the judge. Anyways, those are the fun topics from this week. So that's where we're going to close out the video for this week. I hope it was way better than the first one. If you guys have suggestions, comments, put it down below and I'll read them, and I'll try and make every week a little better than the last. So bear with me, and we'll see you in the future at Desktop Inventions.